Hello, everyone. I'm back. I'm so excited. For me, it's been quite a few days since I last was in Hinamizawa. And for some reason, I haven't been able to stop thinking about the significance of the cicadas, the Higurashi. Like, am I reading too much into it? I don't know. I think I might be going a little bit insane over it. But it's just like the entire title. I want to understand. Maybe it's just a vibe thing for Hinamizawa. But I want to believe that it's deeper than that. The way that people talk about Ryukishi, like, it's gotta be deeper than that. But anyway, I'm excited, so let's go. I also have tea today. I've been in such a tea mood lately. I want to get my own matcha setup, like actual matcha with a shasen and everything. So if you're a tea drinker, let me know what your favorite is. A few days had passed since the incident. During that time, either Mion was busy or Nika-chan had to help with the festival preparations, so we couldn't get everybody together for club activities. Even though I thought I would never want to participate again after the years it shaved off my life each time. Not having it only made my heart grow fonder. I really am not honest with myself. Today we finally had our club activities again. My boyfriend is going absolutely insane in the next room. Oh my god. I think my microphone's picking it up. These weren't the same old club activities. It was called the Cotton Drifting 5-Demon Firefight. And it was one of the biggest events in the club.
Keiichi, この浴衣、まだ着れるかしら。ちょっと袖を通してみてくれる？
Mom pulled out an old dusty yukata.
いいよ、浴衣なんて。恥ずかしいから普段着で行くよ。
Embarrassing. Man, that's your culture.
でもお祭りなんだから。
You're lucky you have culture, okay?
レナとかは普段着でいいって言ってたぜ。
In America, our culture is sweatpants.
浴衣なんか着てったらかえって恥さらしだよ。
I put on the same old vest as usual. Wait, Keiichi wears a vest?
祭りにはレナたちと行くからさ。俺のことは放っておいて大丈夫。
そう？じゃあ、母さんは父さんが起きたら二人で行くわね。
Dad let out a loud snore from the sofa.
あの調子じゃ、夕べも徹夜かな。
急ぎの原稿をようやく発送したとこなの。ひょっとすると起きないかもね。
It seems my dad writes for art magazines sometimes too. I've never read it though. I wonder if my dad is a really famous artist. As his son, it's a bit strange for me to say, but I can't imagine he's selling all that well. Yeah, what the fuck is up with his dad, please? He's able to feed a family of 3 and my life isn't exactly full of hardships. Maybe he's actually a master painter and I just never knew it. I just cannot fathom not knowing it. Especially at his big age. Uh-oh, it was already time. I didn't want them coming here, so I was planning on leaving early and waiting outside.
あらあら、レナちゃん。いつもうちのケイイチがお世話になってまして。
あ、おばさま、こちらこそ、お世話になって。
Why are you blushing just from meeting my mom?
そこで真っ赤になるな。実に気まずい。行くぞ、レナ。
Since Nena would continue to space out if I left her here, I grabbed her hand and dragged her out.
レナちゃん、ケイイチをよろしくね。
はい、おばさま。ケイイチ君はレナが命に変えましても。
She's so good. Then why don't you do it right now? She waved back even as I was dragging her away.
はい、ケイちゃん。今日はお腹すかしてる？
Wait, why didn't everyone
露
come?
店で済ますんだからね。
部活が露天勝負と分かってて、腹を無駄に膨らますと思ったかよ。
そうでなくちゃ。
さとことリカちゃんはもう神社に行ってるのか？
Oh,
リカちゃんはお祭りの実行委員さんだもん。
wait, they're not wearing yukata. I'm kind of disappointed.
さとこちゃんもきっと一緒だよ。
そっか、今日は目いっぱい騒ぐぞ。
I wonder if Dika-chan, because isn't she doing that ceremony? I wonder if she'll be wearing the garb as well. That would be nice to see. We were already in high spirits with just the three of us there. It was way more lively at the Furure Shrine than last time I came, far exceeding my expectations. Throngs of people were crammed between rows of market stalls lined with colorful paper lanterns. Despite that, it was actually quite enjoyable.
すげえ人だな。ひなみ沢ってこんなに人がいたんだ。
綿流しのお祭りはみんな来るよ。
Wait, wait, this is the Watanagashi festival, but I thought that's what chapter 2 was gonna be?
多分ひなみ沢の人の半分くらいは来てるんじゃないかな。
それだけじゃないよ。近隣の町の町会や子供会も招待してる。
そうだよな。俺たちの学校あれしか生徒いないのに、今日は子供の姿がやたらたくさんある。
お祭りの賑やかさはやっぱり子供の賑やかさだからね。
That's true. I agree.
どうもこんばんは。
These two knew everybody we came across. Of course, I greeted them as well, but I still wasn't familiar with everybody yet.
あら、レナちゃん。この間はお惣菜をありがとうね。
I forget, how many people live in Hinamizawa, did they say? Is it like 500, 600, that small? I think, because it's a
う
village.
ちの子も美味しいって喜んでたわ。
いえいえ、気に入ってもらえて嬉しいです。和正くんにもよろしくお伝えくださいね。
よー、園崎のお嬢ちゃんじゃねえの。今年も屋台担いで来てやったぜ。
おっちゃん太った？今からそんなお腹じゃ果ては心筋梗塞だね。
I almost spit out my tea.
あ、この兄ちゃんは新顔だな。嬢ちゃんの後輩かい？
うちの部員だよ。期待のニューフェイス。侮ると一晩で屋台潰されるよ。
嬢ちゃんのお墨付きかい。そりゃお手柔らかに頼むぜ。
I'm looking at all the stalls too. Like there was a chocolate stall and then... Is that takoyaki? It just says ika. As you can imagine, Mion was chatting away with the old guys running the stalls.
兄ちゃんは元気いいからね。おじさんたちにすごく人気あるの。
Please don't ever say that
いや
again.
もう人気あると思うけどな。可愛い
Ooh.
し。
That was, of course, so long as her little condition didn't flare up. But as long as she's blushing quietly, she's pretty cute.
あ、レナが？誰に人気あるのかな？あるのかな？
誰かにだよ。
I evaded giving her a straight answer by roughly tousling her hair.
露天商は町からわざわざ来てくれるんだよ。やっぱりこういうのがないとお祭りは盛り上がらないよね。
で、それを俺たちは荒らして回るわけか。どんな勝負にせよ、俺は負けないぜ。
そうだね。頑張ろう。ああ、遅いですわ皆様。レディーを待たせるとはケイイチさんもなってないでございますわ。
Oh my gosh, look at the little bunny in the bottom right! Look at the little bunny!
おお、そりゃすまんな。で、その待たせたレディーってのはどこにいるんだ？
不安ですって。
Alright, Sadako was in top form as well. Seemed she was all excited about being able to get everybody in the club together for the first time in a while.
うわー、リカちゃん、かわいい。
Vena let out an elated sigh. It seemed that the real lady had made her appearance. Is she wearing it? Is she wearing it? She
こん
is!
ばんはですよ。
Oh! She's so tiny! Such a small priestess.
ケイイチもこんばんはです。
いいねいいね。 今年も決まってるじゃん。
かわいいかわいい。
I like this outfit on her a lot, but I've always liked the priestess garb ever since, well, Inuyasha.
お持ち帰り。
Take a drink every time Nena says,
お持ち帰り。
you'll probably be in the hospital, actually. Maybe don't do that. She was wearing a shrine maiden outfit. Nena's little outburst was completely understandable.
リカちゃんの服装は本格派だな。これって本物の巫女さんの服か？
うちのバッチャのお手製。結構本格派でしょ？
Why? Okay, why? Why? What? Because that was another tip. Why? I'm so confused. I think I'm starting to understand the difficulty level of Onikakushi.
その衣装なの。
I see. Rika-chan was on the executive committee because she performed all the Shrine Maiden rituals for their festival.
お仕事はお祭りの最後のところだけなのです。まだまだゆっくり遊べますですよ。ってことはここで時間を無駄にできないということですわ。参りましょう。
よっしゃー。
It felt good to wander around the festival with just the 5 of us. Oh my god, it's my favorite song. Anyway, Mion called everyone over to a stand that caught her attention and proposed a rather odd competition.
たこ焼き早食い勝負。
Oh, that would be tough. Takoyaki's so piping hot.
各自購入の上。よーい、ドン。
A standard in vendor stalls, the takoyaki stand. Oh, I see it in the bag. Look at the takoyaki. It's so cute. Did they make a taco? Yeah, I guess. Takoyaki next to the taco-san. What was especially standard for these kinds of events was the fact that they were simply balls of dough, takoyaki in name only. Yeah.
ケイチ君大丈夫？お水お水。はあ、そんな熱々たこ焼き丸飲みなんて自殺行為でございますわ。
Yeah, but how are you supposed to win?
作り置きの冷めたやつを購入するのがコツかな。
The ready-made... Ah!
実に美味しくないですよ。
Oh, how do you mess up takoyaki? What? The stall next to it was a shaved ice stand. Oh, this is my strong suit. I would win this, whatever this one is. It was still a bit too early in the season for that, but right then it didn't matter.
今度はかき氷にしようぜ。完食早食い勝負だ。レディー、ゴー！
I like never get a brain freeze. I'd be so good at this.
かき氷の早食いなんて無理。体温で少しでも溶かせば。冷たいですの。
甘いね。おじさんはシロップ大盛りで頼んだのさ。混ぜればすぐに溶ける。
These stooges were too late. The moment they chose to tackle it head-on was their downfall.
完食だ。
ケイちゃんが？早すぎる。
まさかケイチ君、後ろの金魚すくいのお水を入れたんじゃ。
I fucking
実
hope
に美味し
not.
くないですよ。
Next to that... Wait, did he? That's dedication. Next to that was another old favorite. A cotton candy stand. Put me in,
次は
Chief.
こちらにしませんこと？
Put me in, I'm so ready. I'm so ready. I can destroy a cotton candy.
もちろん早食いですわ。ねえねえ、綿あめの早食いなんてどうやるんだろう。どうやるんだろう。
On Sadako's mark, Mion, Sadako, and I all compressed the cotton candy with our bare hands. The time it took to stick the whole thing in our mouths, 3 seconds.
さとこはともかくケイちゃんも気づいてたとはね。
俺をいつまでも新入部員扱いしないことだぜ。
実に美味しくないですよ。
Rika-chan had also crushed it between her hands and stuck it in her mouth.
こんな綿あめの食べ方、きっと日本中でもここだけだよ。
I think only Nena's cotton candy was happy with how it was eaten. But it felt like we'd end up doing stuff like eat noodles through the nose contest, or human water pump at the goldfish scoop, at the rate things were going.
それでもおじさんは勝つけどね。
白磁気勝負ではミオンさんにはかないませんわね。
Yeah.
ああ、まったく。
Me and Keiichi sometimes, it's kind of weird.
何あんたたち。次は焼きそばにブルーハワイかけて食べる勝負にしたいわけ？
Both Sadako and I shook our heads.
あのさ、今度はちょっと食べ物から離れたゲームにしないかな。
I think I'd need a break after all that. Nena's proposal was a godsend. It was about time we played a different kind of game. It also seemed like neither Nena nor Rika-chan were any good at speed eating or gorging themselves.
じゃあレナ、次のゲームをあんたに任せるよ。何でもいい。
じゃあね、レナは審判だよ。このお祭り会場でかいいものを探してくるの。制限時間は1分。
1 minute?
上等ですわ。レナの好みは分かってますもの。
よし、多分あれなら勝てる。
よーい、ダン。あれ、ケイチ君とリカちゃんはなんでスタートしないんだろう。
Mion and Sadako dashed off madly, but Rika-chan and I calmly stayed right where we were.
ひょっとしてもう見つけてあるの？かわいいの。
Is it Rika-chan?
もう見つけてありますです。ケイチもですね。
ああ。
なんだろう、楽しみ。
Both Rika-chan and I stood motionless for those few moments before Mion and Sadako returned.
こういう形で直接対決するのは初めてだな。
初めてしますです。
リカちゃん、あれで勝つつもりか？
僕も部員です。勝つためなら快速第3条ですよ。
Rika-chan sneered to the best of her ability. You're on. Both Mion and Sadako came back with each with their own plan of attack stuffed in their arms.
じゃあ順番にね。1番は部長さんのみーちゃんから。
悪いけどいきなり決めさせてもらうよ。さんはこれだ。
Where did she get those? They were old diamond-shaped tin signs.
カレーに蚊取り線香、昔懐かしのブリキ看板だ。どう？
That's very understated. A little too understated, Mion. I used to see those stuck up on barbed wire fences. They were more nostalgic than cute. Can you explain what part of that is cute? But there were puffs of smoke noisily shooting out of Rena's ears and nose, almost like a steam train. I didn't get it. I mean, you don't...
次は私が行くでございますわよ。
How does Keiichi not understand her weird-ass taste after helping dig up the KFC man?
これでございます。
It was the hand-drawn poster from the Ladies' Society roasted corn stall. It was a really bad sketch done by a housewife. An anthropomorphic roasted corn drawn without any sort of real plan. Its very existence invited a sense of sorrow to the viewer. Me whenever I draw. Bleep! That was the sound of blood jetting out of Rena's nose. It seemed to have been rated higher than Mion's. I really didn't get it. It feels like your artistic sense is a little avant-garde by about 5 eons.
所詮は量産 手書きには勝てませんわ。
I couldn't even begin to follow the way those guys were thinking.
では次は僕が行きますですよ。
次はリカちゃんか。小道具もなしにどんな手を使うやら。
Did you and Sadako both forget? If Dika-chan felt like it, she could simply... After moving back about 10 yards, she began waddling up to Rena. Seeing that, both Mion and Sadako gasped.
しまったー。
Too late. Dika-chan tripped over nothing and lay motionless after falling down. Nena hurried over to her.
リカちゃん大丈夫かな、大丈夫かな。
Nika-chan had a lump on her forehead and tears welled up in her eyes. Only her fingers peeked out from her sleeves. This was the vital part. The palms of her hands were covered by her sleeves. Oh. Yeah. That's so cozy. She made just a single sound.
み
Oh.
忘れてましたですの。
That's what I thought.
一番身近な手を忘れてましたわ。
Nena's face went completely red, her head bobbing back and forth with excitement. She embraced Dika-chan and began rubbing her cheek against her.
さすがだぜ。どこまで取ってもいちびっこみこ半波だみー完璧だ。
Me!
ただの苔を萌えにまで昇華した。これぞまさに芸術と呼ぶにふさわしい。
Muy cute.
ケイちゃんの方がわかんねえセンスしてるよ。
I'll just pretend the sharp sting of those words cutting through me like a razor was a figment of my imagination. Nika-chan turned her gaze to me with a daunting smile as she was caressed by Nena, who was in full cute mode.
さあケイイチ、僕に勝てますですか。
Again with Boku. That cold smile is frightening, Nika-chan. It must be just my imagination, but I see a demon inside her sometimes.
ケイちゃんにも何か秘策があってのことだろうけど。
Should I write that down? I feel like that's been hinted at a couple of times. But I don't know, everyone kind of seems like they've got the devil in them.
何を見せてくれるのかな。
私としましてもケイイチさんのお手並み拝見でございますわ。ひょっとしてケイイチも芸をしますですね。
I basked in their pointed stares. I pulled Lena, who gave no sign of canceling out of cute mode, away from Nika-chan.
はうかいのかいの。ケイイチくん離して。
今から俺がもっとかわいいのを見せてやるから少し我慢しろ。
もっとかいいの。
だがここはちょっとギャラリーが多い。あっちの影へ行こう。
Hmm? Nena looked very surprised as I pulled her behind the shrine.
ケイイチさんの企みが見えないでございますわ。
ケイちゃんに限って。いや、まさか。
ファイト、王です。
After a bit, I returned. And a bit after that, so did Nena, dragging her feet.
まさかケイちゃんのやつ、ねんねのレナに変なことしたんじゃ。
Mion and Sadako passed by me, heading straight to Nena.
変なことって一体何でございますの？
For a moment, Nena was too dazed to realize someone was talking to her.
なんだ、みーちゃんか。
大丈夫？ケイちゃんに変なことされなかった？
レナ、変なことはされなかったよ。かなりの重傷ですわ。ケイイチさんは一体何を見せましたの？
getting baited, right?
かいレナ、あんた何を見せられたの？
Nena let out a really long "Hoo." Her eyes sparkled as she spoke.
かったよ、ケイチ君のオットセイ。
Wait. Huh? No way! In the blink of an eye, Mion and Sadako's elbows smashed into my face.
なになに？
レナに汚ねえもん見せやがって！
この大関スケゴマシ重複して差し上げますでございます。
違う誤解だ
A dark, billowing aura flowed from Mion and Sadako. It was no good. They're gonna kill me. Well, what was it?
兄ちゃん、なんだかわかんないけど誤解だよ。ケイチ君はオットセイさんのキーホルダーですよ。
Of course. Nika-chan stuck her hand into my pocket and pulled out my keychain.
昔夏休みの宿題で作ったと言ってますです。恥ずかしいのでめったに人に見せないとも言ってますですよ。ちっちゃくて可愛くて精一杯頑張ったって感じがとっても素敵だったよ。
なんだ、
I don't know if that would beat Nika-chan for me, personally.
できるおじさんはケイちゃんのあははは
さすがミオさんですわ。間違える方向もワイルドですこと。
You thought it too! They slung insults at each other and looked like they were ready to tear into each other at any second. I beg of you. If I'm in the clear, would you mind getting off of me? We were interrupted by the flash of a camera.
やあみんな、
Do you see any birds around here? Man, get out of here.
相変わらず元気そうだね。
It was Tomitake-san. As I lay crumpled on the ground, Mion and Sadako continued to bicker above me. Nika-chan was patting me on the head and Nena was still in cute mode. It was probably quite a lively scene.
こんばんはではございますが、レディーに断りもなくお写真を撮るのはエチケット違反でございますことよ。
そうだな。少なくとも聡子の許可は必要ない。
Sadako dug her heel into me.
こんばんは。明日帰られちゃうんですよね。素敵な写真はいっぱい撮れましたか？
おかげさまでね。いい絵がたくさん撮れたよ。
富武のおじさまに会えるのも今晩限りなのね。お名残惜しいですわ。
Why does she sound so happy?
いい加減とっととメジャーデビューしてくださいよね。
Oh.
相変わらず口が悪いな。
Yeah. Okay, wait. I'm locked in. Every time this guy's on the screen, I am locked in.
その毒舌もまた半年聞けないかと思うと残念だよ。
Half a year.
せいぜい今夜を楽しんでらしてくださいな。明日の夜にはもう東京なんですからね。
そうだね。星が見える夜空なんてまた半年お預けだもんね。
Tomitake-san looked up at the night sky cheerfully. At that moment, even though he was smiling, I sensed a bit of sadness.
富武さん、いっそ住めばいいじゃないですか。南沢。
Tomitake-san was speechless.
確かに不便なとこです。店もないし、娯楽もないし、何もないかもしれないけど。
Everyone knew what I was trying to say. Tomitake-san was also well aware. Why does he look so awkward? So Dena, Mion, Sadako, and Nika-chan, none of them butted in.
俺はまだここに引っ越してきて一月も経たないからよくわからないけど。
Normally, I'm a really talkative guy, but in situations like this, I'm at a loss for words. Even though all this was happening in such a boisterous setting, It felt like all the background noise was fading into the distance.
ここにはきっと
Tomitake-san rested his hand on me gently, silencing me.
ありがとな。ケイイチくん、ミオンちゃんにレナちゃん、サトコちゃんにリカちゃん。
Tomitake-san's smile was so slight it looked as if it was going to crumble at any minute, but it was warm.
僕もここに住めたらきっと楽しいだろうなって思うよ。
Those might have been cruel words coming from a kid who didn't need to worry about working to feed himself. A hand touched my back. It was Nena.
ケイイチくん、大人をいじめちゃかわいそうだよ。
The background clamor of the festival returned.
またしばらくのお別れなんですからね。今夜は富武さんにもたくさん楽しんでもらわなくっちゃ。
When Nena smiled, the mood instantly got brighter.
そうだね。ぜひそうさせてもらうよ。
あ、
But, okay. Yeah, sure, whatever. His job is important. Surely living in Hinamizawa is more affordable and he can find work if he really wanted to move here. But that was weird, so I'm gonna write it down. This guy's a weirdo.
ねえねえみーちゃん、どうだろう。富武さんを部活に入部させてあげるのは。
That's a great idea, or so I thought, but Mion had a snobbish look on her face.
入部条件の一つにひなみ沢在住ってのがあるんだけどね。
そんなみーちゃん、今日くらい意地悪しなくても。
ま、コツコツ毎年来てるからね。名誉市民と認定してあげよう。
やったー。さてさて、こんな旬を過ぎたご老体にこの私の相手が務まるんでございましょうかしら。老快な大人の知恵を見せてもらいましょうです。
へへ、俺たちの若さについてこられるかな。
Tomitake-san stepped back slightly at our audacious grins.
部長園崎美音の名において名誉市民富武氏の我が部への入部を許可する。
Her words were quickly drowned out by our cheers.
なんだいその部活ってのは。
我が部はだな、複雑化する社会に対応するため活動ごとに提案される様々な条件下、時には準教、あるいは逆境からいかにして。
レナは弱いからいじめないでほしいな。仲良くやろうね。子供のごっこ遊びと侮るつもりなら好都合でございますわ。
身ぐるみ剥いで地獄の底に叩き落としてやるぜ。
Huh? Why? Keiichi, shut up.
つまりみんなでゲームして遊ぶ部活です。
Of course, Rika-chan was the only one to give an answer that made sense.
よーし、望むところだよ。その挑戦を受けて立とうじゃないか。お手柔らかに頼むよ、先輩方。
Tomitake-san got riled up and did a victory pose like he was 10 years younger. That's perfect. We continued walking through the festival with Mion in the front. Now we looked like a family of 6. It had some intensity to it.
ルールはいつも通り。ビリにはもちろんお約束の罰ゲーム。
Tomitake-san was a bit surprised, but to us it was just the same as always. Regardless of how terrible a penalty it was,
負けなきゃいいんだからね。
Nena was also brimming with determination. She didn't have any intention of
そう
losing.
だな。
I tousled Nena's hair to lighten the mood. She giggled to hide her embarrassment.
なるほど。これが同心ってやつなんだな。
Tomitake-san whispered that to nobody in particular. At that moment, we heard an old man call out in a strong voice. Looking over, I realized it was the man Mion had greeted right before the festival.
来たかい。園崎の嬢ちゃん、今年は大人数みたいじゃねえの。
あんたの店根こそぎかっさらいに来たよ。
Cute! Wait, there's all these cute things and then there's just a gun? It's gotta be like a fake gun. Oh my gosh, and the tank? I think I'd probably want... If these are like prizes, of course. I think I'd want that weird green one that's smiling. Oh, it's a shooting gallery. It was the usual setup where you had to knock down the prize you wanted with the cork gun. I gotta shoot him, but he's so cute!
ルールは簡単。3発撃って得られた景品のデカさで勝負しよう。
Oh. Everybody shouted their agreement. There was no need to consider how to win, since the condition for victory was simply size. The biggest prize at the stall, it went without question. It was that one, wasn't it? It's either the yaha, whatever that is, or the frog bag, I think. Nana was gazing longingly at a large stuffed animal. It was intentionally placed on an unsteady platform so it was possible to get it if you hit the right spot.
と一瞬思わせる絶妙な配置が見事だな。
さすがケイイチさん、一発でカンパすると思いましたわ。
ここは無難にキャラメルや人形を狙うのが定石のようだね。
The intent analysis had already begun. In this club, you'll get eaten alive if you don't come prepared. Everything hinges on what plan you can come up with before the main event. At some point, a large crowd had gathered around us, making a big fuss. There was this much of a following for our club's infamous event?
クマさんを落とせれば勝利は確定しますですね。
3発しかないんだぜ。それを確かめるために使うには重いな。
へいへい、他のお客さんも待ってるんだぜ。最初のチャレンジャーは誰からだい？
先に挑戦した方が楽な景品を狙えて有利かもしれないけど、鉄砲の癖が見えないうちの挑戦は危険だね。
Tomitake-san's take on the situation was pretty good. He gets what our club is about.
じゃあさ、公平にじゃんけんで決めるのはどうかな？どうかな？
結局それしかないかね。じゃんけん
Ken! Boom! Oh. I like Janken. I actually played it today at work. And then after losing, we both just kind of looked at each other like, wait, what happens to the winner? And I was like, whatever you want to happen? We were trying to figure out who wanted to do what at work. And we didn't even put down the ground rules. Rookie mistake. After a couple of matches, it ended up with Mion being first.
一番は避けたかったんだけど、ま、ハンデってことにしとくかな。おっちゃん、10。
そらよ。
When the shooting range guy handed her a rifle, Mion looked over it intently. She didn't forget to check the cork bullet
オ
either.
ッケー。この銃はおろしたてだね。癖はなし。悪くない。
Mion raised the gun in one swift motion. Does Mion know about guns? Question mark. Should I write that down? It was completely different from her careful inspection. She was shooting from the hip. Fire, reload. I like that sound effect so much. Wait, it's so cute. Flop. Flop, flop. 3 candy boxes fell, one after the other. A big haul. Hell yeah. The crowd paused for a moment in awe and then erupted in cheers. Dang.
やるでございますわ。
Like, shooting from the hip is insane, man. They don't allow guns in Japan, last I checked. I guess it depends. No. Like, maybe she knows it because she's at this festival every year and there's always that stall, but still, that's weird. Tomitake-san was at a loss for words after seeing such shooting prowess.
すごいよみーちゃん。3つ。
Her accuracy was incredible. Her choice of targets wasn't bad either. The 3 Mion had gone after were fairly large and pretty easy to knock over. They were all targets with very high return on investment.
2番手は誰？さとこ？気をつけて。弾が軽い。
Next was Sadako. The rifle looked a bit big for her lithe body, but it didn't seem like she had any problem with the weight.
やはりここは大物狙いで行かせてもらいますわ。
She proclaimed that she was going after the teddy bear. Damn, Sadako, such a bold move.
クマさんを落とせばその時点でさとこちゃんのトップは確定するね。さとこちゃん頑張れ。
Sadako was the opposite of Mion. She aimed at the target quite carefully and squeezed the trigger.
弾が軽いですわ。
The first 2 bullets struck the bear in the torso, but it only shifted a bit. You need to aim higher towards the head or it won't work. Sadako's 3rd bullet wasn't aimed at the bear, but at the candy box below its arm.
残念でございますけれど、私にクマは2が勝ちすぎているみたいですわね。
She went boldly after the big catch, but since she switched over to less impressive prey at the last second, the crowd only gave a strange laugh. Were they laughing because she lacked the courage? These fools know nothing.
さとこいい仕事をするじゃん。腕を上げたね。
The palm of Mion's outstretched hand went pump as it tapped down lightly on Sadako. She appeared to be just talking hot air, but this was actually completely calculated. Damn that Sadako. Just to avoid being in last place, she dared to switch over to an easy target. Without shame or honor. Magnificent.
クマはレナさんに譲るでございますわ。健闘をお祈りしましたよ。ありがとね、さとこちゃん。クマさんかいいよ。
Lena was up next. She couldn't hit the broadside of a barn as regular Lena, but she said that bear was cute.
レナちゃんはどうだろうね。一つくらい当たるといいんだけれど。
富武さんはちょっとレナを甘く見てますね。
It's Lena, you know. It's Lena Ryugu, you know. If it was to get that teddy bear. Tomitake-san wheeled around to see what all the commotion the spectators were making was about. If it was to get that bear, she'd be able to shoot through a pinhole. The one known as Lena Ryugu could do it.
揺れてるよ。かいよ。
Lena couldn't hide her excitement over the bear's slow rocking. Now, Lena couldn't lose.
さすがレナさんですわ。冷静を失えば失
She's
うほ
got
ど
it.
に。
強い。
Another big cheer. Lena's bullet hit the bear's forehead again. Not enough. The bear seemed to wobble more than before.
でも無理かもしれませんですね。
いや、わからないよ。レナちゃんの腕だったらひょっとすると。
While Tomitake-san was just as excited as the crowd, Rika-chan's analysis was not swayed by emotion. If Lena had 10 more shots, then she could surely knock it over. But with just one more, no matter how you looked at it, no go. The crowd let out a dejected groan. She had shot it right in the forehead 3 times. It was a bit late, but they gave her a good round of applause for the attempt.
クマさんお持ち帰り。
Oh, she should be praised for her valor, but she had no trophies to show for it. Then, at that moment, the old man flicked one of the candy boxes with his finger and handed it to Lena.
こいつはジョーちゃんのだぜ。
Cheating.
くれるの？
Cheater!
レナに？
あんなすげえの見せられて手ぶらで返しちゃお天道様に申し訳が立たねえぜ。
Here's another shower of applause. Nena turned bright red and I pulled her back over to us by her
頑
hands.
張ったじゃないかよ。かわいいモードのレナにゃ驚かされるぜ。
はあ、惜しかったよクマさん。
It was easy to see that it only needed a little more to be knocked over. Nena had done quite a lot for me. I still needed to pay her back for that delicious picnic.
よっしゃ、そんなら俺が。
僕が取ったらプレゼントするよ。
What? Tommy, I ought to punch you in your smug face. Tomitake-san had stolen the words right out of my mouth. What a bitch. Why am I mad? Ah, that was supposed to be ours. Damn you, old man, Tomitake. Stealing the good parts for yourself. A small hand stretched over and fell gently on my head just before I was overcome with frustration.
ケイイチもファイト王ですよ。
Thank you, Dika. Tomitake-san carefully studied the bear. Setting his sights, he shouldered the rifle while holding the other two shots in his hand.
どういうことだ？
うん、間違いない。
So there's more force
富
behind
武のおっ
it.
さんの狙いは。
The time between shots was short. It was meaningless to shoot again once it stopped shaking, so Tomitake-san was relying on rapid fire to win the battle. It was visibly wobbling much more than it ever had before, but that was all. It still didn't fall over.
残念だった。
All of Dena's momentary expectation was watching it sway from... Oh my gosh. All of Dena's momentary expectation... All of Dena's momentary expectation from watching it sway violently turned into a dejected sigh.
結構いけると思ったんだけどな。
Doom, 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 doom. Sometimes English is really hard to
男
read.
だとキャラメルはもらえないようでございますわね。
That was it. It meant Tomitake-san had no spoils of war.
つまりケイちゃんとリカちゃんは手堅く楽なものを撃ち落とせばビリ回避ってわけだね。
Where's the fun in that?
ビリ回避か。あ、すみませんね。
今度はケイイチ君の番だよ。検討。
I was the fifth shooter. I took the rifle from Tomitake-san. If I took the ruthless route as Mion had suggested, then I'd go for something insignificant. Except, when I picked up the rifle, I definitely got a feeling from it. It was burning passion, passed down to me by Tomitake-san. The regret of not being man enough to fell the bear that Nena wanted. Yes, that's right. If I didn't aim for the bear, then I wouldn't be a man.
約束しちまったからな。
I mean, yeah, that's
レナ
right.
に。
約束ってなんだろう。
あのクマを撃ち落としてレナにプレゼントするって。
それって。
The crowd went wild when they saw our conversation. That's not it. Fine men of the crowd. If I didn't do this, then Nena might mug the old man running the stall on his way home. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. Why can't I just express my honest feelings?
ケイイチさんも男を見せますのね。でも実際どうやってクマを落とす気ですの？レナや富武の玉で幾分傾きはしましたですが、難しいと思いますです。ケイイチくん。
もっと素早い連射力があれば一撃ごとの揺れにパワーを上乗せできるのに。
頑張ってケイイチくん。
After taking 2 deep breaths, I shouted over to the guy.
鉄砲もう2丁貸してくれ。
Huh? The crowd murmured amongst themselves.
ケイイチさんは何を企んでいるのでしょう。一人じゃ3丁は使えないですのよ。
読めたよ。ケイちゃんも考えたじゃん。
つまり一番時間がかかってるのがこのコルク玉の装填なんだよ。
そうだよね。じゃあ先に玉を詰めた鉄砲を3つ並べておけば。
Tomitake-san went silent, peering at me and the bear through his lens. His photographer's blood predicted a miracle will occur. And then the crowd finally picked up on what I was planning. They let out a great cheer. What if the guy was just like, sorry, we only have the one rifle? They chanted my name. Keiichi! Keiichi! Rapid fire is the key. If I miss, all is for naught. Phew. After letting out a deep breath, I paused. Relax. Now. That moment, it felt like time itself had stopped. I felt like I could see the trajectory of the bullets. Hit it. And knock it down. The first shot hit the bear on its head. The second. The third! The bear swayed hard. And then... The cheers began before the stuffed animal even finished falling off the shelf. The guy caught it before it hit the ground and tossed it over to me.
まさか本当に落としやがるとはな。乾杯だぜ。
すごいや。おめでとうケイチ君。
ケイイチさんも頭を使えるようになりましたわね。少しは見直しましたですな。
What do you mean, finally? Sadako?
俺一人で落としたわけじゃないぜ。みんなで当てて少しずつずらして落としたんだ。こいつは俺たち全員の戦果だぜ。
Oh my goodness.
そうそう全員の力の結晶だね。
I've been working like...
ミーは一発も当ててませんです。
I've been working like every single day, all week, before we go on a little mini vacation to see Phantom of the Opera. Broadway's having a tour, and Phantom of the Opera is like my favorite, so I'm very tired. I apologize. Yeah, wait, Rika didn't even get to go yet. After holding up the teddy bear like it was a championship trophy, I handed it to Dena.
そうだ、こいつは俺から、いや、みんなからだな。いつもうまい弁当ありがとな。
Nena, thinking she was never actually going to get it, was momentarily speechless.
ダメだよケイイチ君。だってこれはみんなの。
じゃあ落としたのは俺。だからこれは俺のだからレナにやる。
I pushed the stuffed animal towards her again. This time, she embraced and accepted it.
俺が引っ越してきてからいろいろ面倒を見てくれたよな。す
Aww,
げえ感謝してるんだぜ。ありがとな。
this is really sweet.
ケイイチ君ありがとう。
Nena dove at me. Oh no. Mion told me a few days later that Nena kissed me, but I didn't realize it during all the excitement at the time. Oh. I remembered what I was trying to say to Tomitake-san earlier. There really isn't much of anything here, but there are lots of things you can't find anywhere else. I gained a lot from coming to Hinamizawa, especially at that moment. The crowd's cheers echoed on and on. From the altar set up in front of the shrine, the drums sounded with a booming echo. It was the finale of the festival. Oh, please let us see it. Please.
僕はお先に行くですよ。
おっと。僕も早く行っていいポジションを確保しないとな。じゃあみんな、後ほど。
But wait, Rika never got to shoot. Both Rika-chan and Tomitake-san gave their farewells and disappeared into the crowd.
二人ともお勤めしっかりでございますよ。ささ参りましょうでございます。
うん。リカちゃんのあで姿を見に行きますかね。行こう。
あ、あれ、レナは？何やってんだよ。
ケイイチ君、みーちゃん、助けて。
Since she was carrying such a ridiculously large stuffed animal, she was being carried by the flow of people.
何やってんだあいつ。熊の世話で手一杯なんだな。
じゃあケイちゃんにはレナの世話を頼むかね。私はサトコの世話で忙しいし。
誰がミオンさんの世話になるでございますの？痛い。手引っ張らないでくださいまし。
Oh, well, don't hurt her, but damn. Take a hint. Before losing sight of Mion, I grabbed the back of Dena's collar.
ケイチ君、そこ違う。掴むとこ違う。
Stop making it sound like that.
注文のうるさいやつだな。どこならいいんだ？
I didn't feel ashamed at all. Dena was ashamed enough for the both of us. I grabbed onto Dena's hand and dashed after Mion and the
置い
others.
てかれる。早く行こうぜ。
I hadn't realized Dena's hand was so delicate. Maybe she needed a bit more exercise and nutrition? That wasn't what I meant. Not at all. My ears burned. I tried to keep calm. I repeated the phrase, "Keep it together, Keiichi Maebara," in my mind, but it didn't look like I would be able to anytime soon. I really didn't want Nena to see my face right then, so I pushed onwards, dragging her along without looking back even once. That's so cute. Aw, they're so cute. There was already a huge group of people gathered at the altar in front of the shrine. The fire at the altar made it as bright as midday and just as hot. There was a pile of futons warded with sanctified rope in front of the altar. Futons. Come to think of it, they did say it was a festival where they did something with the cotton and futons. Oh yeah, the cotton. Inside.
ケイチさん、レナさん、こちらでございますのよ。
Sadako waved her hand from the front row.
お、すまんすまん。
Making our way through the mass of people, we reached the spot they'd saved.
どう？ちょっとはレナとドキドキできた？
やっぱりてめえ、そういうつもりだったのか。
Instead of replying, Mion gave us a perverse
レ
grin.
ナはどうだった？ケイちゃんの手って意外に大きいとか思わなかった？
Nena turned bright red, puffs of steam shooting out of her. I heard something slice through the air and turned around to see Mion on the ground with a welt on her face.
ミオ、お前、いつ食らったんだ？
歯うの歯とうの間くらいだったかな。
Oof.
レナ、照れ隠しに友達を殴るのは良くないぞ。
レナ、殴ってないよ。知らないもん。
Thump. The thunderous beat of the drum echoed, silencing the crowd.
お静かになさいませ。始まりですわ。
It was a solemn ritual. Nika-chan entered dressed as a shrine maiden, followed by members of the municipal committee. The elders all looked at Nika-chan and clasped their hands in praise. The only thing allowed to disturb the profound silence was the flash from Tomitake-san's camera.
リカちゃんが持ってるあのでかいのはなんだ？
祭事用のクワだよ。巫女さんしか触っちゃいけない神聖な農具なの。
A sacred hoe only a maiden can touch? I see what you did there, Ryukishi. It was an awkward shape for a piece of farm equipment, not uncommon for something used in rituals. After reciting a Shinto prayer, Nika-chan approached the pile of futons gathered at the altar. She swung the hoe skillfully, plowing it into the futons. Each and every little movement of this performance probably had to be done in a certain way. Without a doubt, this was the ritual.
今度はなんだ？布団叩きかな？
あれはね、人間に代わって冬の病魔を吸い取ってくれたお布団を清めてるの。
ケイちゃんのお布団叩きって表現もまあ外れじゃないかね。
Nika-chan's face was already dripping with sweat. That hoe was probably really heavy. She staggered side to side with the momentum of each swing. Satoko looked on, silently lending her support.
心配か？
リカは毎日お餅つきの杵で練習してましたですの。 とやりきるでございますわ。
Satoko's hands were sweaty, and whenever Rika-chan started to sway a little, she held her breath.
ミオンとかは巫女役立候補しなかったのかよ。リカちゃんにあの重さは気の毒だよ。
Well, isn't it the Furude Shrine?
そりゃ頼まれりゃやるけどね。まあ誰にでも務まるものでもないし。
そうだよな。ミコは清らかじゃないとダメだもんな。
Mion drove her elbow into my side. With the thud of the big drum, Nika-chan gave a solemn bow and descended from the altar. That triggered a round of generous applause. After the Shinto priest had raised up and the cleaned futons, like a portable altar, all the spectators stood up. Following after the priest, we all marched on at a moderate pace. They descended the shrine's giant stairs in a
今
line.
度は何が始まるんだ？布団を川で洗濯か？
だから綿流しだってば。
The procession continued right up to the bank of the stream. A fire was stoked high, and it was bright as day here, too. People started crowding around it and clamoring.
はい、順番。並ぶよ、ケイチ君。
I wondered what was up. Maybe we'd get some holy wine? Red and white bean buns?
食べ物じゃないよ。だから綿。
Ah, but of course. They didn't call it the Watanagashi for nothing. I finally understood. The municipal committee members pulled out the cotton from inside the futons and balled it up like mochi, handing it out to people. Then I dove into the line and brought out some for me as well. We then proceeded to the bank of the
ケイ
stream.
チ君は初めてだから、レナのやり方を真似するんだよ。
She held the cotton in her right hand and, waving her hand as if to purify it, she touched it to her forehead, chest, navel, and both thighs.
これを3回繰り返すの。心の中では、お社様ありがとうって唱えるんだよ。
お社様ってなんだよ。あの神社の神様の名前か？
うん、南沢の守り神様なの。
I'm writing this down. Also, one more thing. The ritual with the hoe breaking open the futons, that kind of reminded me a little bit of our dismemberment case. I don't know if the two are connected. Again, I feel like I'm reading a little bit maybe too hard into some things, but this is interesting.
ご利益もあるけど、たたりもあるんだからね。ちゃん
Miracles
と敬わ
and
ないとダメ
curses?
だよ。
Sounded like a pretty frightening god. But, well, when in Rome. I was officially a resident of Hinamizawa now, after all. Doing as Nena showed me, I touched the cotton over myself 3 times. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama.
これでね、体についてた悪いのが、この綿に吸い取られたの。で、あとは沢の流れにそっと流してね。おしまい。
Together, Nena and I set our pieces of cotton afloat on the surface of the water. The flowers of cotton blooming in the water had sucked out all the bad illnesses from Hinamizawa and drifted off, disappearing into the distance. It was wonderful, like those floating lantern festivals I'd seen on TV. The best part, though, was feeling like this rite of passage had made me a true resident of Hinamizawa. So, at the end of the river, is it just like a pile of cotton? And the creepy music, it's creepy. Kind of. It is sad, but it's, I don't know.
はじめは、ちょっとした不安だった。
Hurting someone was something I never even considered.
考えもしなかった。
The anxiety then
それで
gave
も
place to
不安は
loneliness,
孤独を
doubt,
生
and
ん
more.
で、疑念へ
And
と
then
変
that
わり、
wicked, murderous
やが
intent
て黒い
eventually
殺
took
意が
control of my mind.
心を闇に閉ざしていった。戻らない日常。
The boy took the first
少
step
年は足を
towards
踏み
an
出す。
unrecoverable daily
そ
life,
の先が、
not even
奈落の底
realizing
だ
that
と
he
も
was
気づかず
walking into the abyss.
鬼
Huh?
隠し。信じたいと思う気持ちが生んだ悲
A
劇、
tragedy born from the desire to believe?
懺悔か、それとも怨恨か。
Tears of repentance or resentment? Huh? What just happened? That was... Huh? That was Rena's voice. What? Murderous intent? Huh? I mean, I guess she does punch people quite a bit. While staring off into the stream, I somehow got separated from Nena. I wasn't very lonely, though. I know this place now. This is where I live. My home. It's probably better if I just stay here instead of wandering around aimlessly. Someone would surely find me while I was enjoying the evening breeze. I heard a familiar voice. It was Tomitake-san's. I headed towards it.
どうですか、富武さん。いい写真はいっぱい撮れましたか？
ああ、おかげさまでね。
Tomitake-san was with a girl. I felt a little like I was intruding.
ケイイチ君はどうだったかしら？
Sorry,
お
what?
祭りは楽しめた？
How does she know our name? From the way she spoke, it seemed like she was a resident of Hinamizawa. I really should try harder to remember people's faces here. What was her name?
楽しかったです。
My face must have given away how desperately I was trying to remember her name because she gave a lighthearted chuckle.
ケイチ君はまだ引っ越してきて日が浅いんだそうだね。他の子たちととても親しげだったからとてもそうは思えなかったよ。
If that's how it looked, it was probably all thanks to Nena and Mion.
あなたも今日のお祭りに参加して自分がひなみ沢の人間になれたんだって。
どうなんでしょうね。
I like her voice.
おや？ケイチ君らしくない返事だね。
I had tried to get used to Hinamizawa, but there were still plenty of things I didn't know. The faces of people I'd met, for example. Things that had happened in the past as well.
なんだ、その程度のことで君は疎遠に感じていたのかい？
疎遠なんて大げさなもんじゃないですよ。ただなんていうのか。
That incident at the dam construction site. The fighting over it and other conflicts. That terrible incident they pretended they didn't even know about whenever I brought it up. Even though it was in the past. As someone living in Hinamizawa, it wasn't wrong to want to know about both the good and bad that had happened here.
それを知ることで君が納得するなら、僕の知っている範囲で何でも教えるよ。
Finally! I'm so excited. Tomitake-san's smile made me more relieved than I'd ever been. It was hard to think of what to ask when someone said, ask me anything though. Even when there was so much I wanted to ask.
じゃあ、ダム工事について聞かせてください。ひなみ沢が水没するとかいう大事件だったんですよね。
ダムについては多分ここの人に聞いた方が詳しいと思うけどな。ま、僕が知っている範囲でいいんなら新聞で読んだ程度だけどね。
Tomitake-san's eyes entered an unfocused gaze as he searched through his memory. Then he spoke.
ダムの計画が決まったのは7、8年くらい前なんだ。黒部に次ぐ巨大な計画だったと聞いてるね。
There were three major issues in Japan at the time. Improving inter-island transportation infrastructure, meeting the higher demand for electricity, and flood control. There was a boom of dam building due to the massive economic stimulus they provided, on top of generating electricity and flood control. Hinamizawa had the right conditions to support dam construction, so it was singled out.
ダムの完成に伴って生まれるダム湖はかなりの面積になったらしいね。このひなみ沢からずっと上流の矢郷地あたりまでが全部沈むことになったらしい。
しかし、なんだって人が住んでるひなみ沢にわざわざダムを作るんですか？もっと他の人が住んでないところに作ればいいのに。
よくは知らないんだが、ダムを作るのに適した地形ってのがあったって聞いてるね。
Of course, there were protests here in Hinamizawa. Nika-chan had said that they had fought. From that choice of words, I had to guess things that turned violent.
裁判にもなったし、議会でも取り上げられたんだ。東京の新聞にも載ったよ。
Wow. Mion had told me all about that as well. I'm sure every resident of Hinamizawa had united to fight together. The feeling of solidarity found here, which could not be expressed properly with mere words, was likely brought about by that battle.
で、いろいろな不祥事や汚職が発覚してね、ややこしいことになっているうちに工事中止が決まったんだそうだよ。
If I wanted to know, now was my only chance to ask. It was certainly a bizarre incident that boys my age would be curious about. I felt a little shame from the fact I was petty enough to have my curiosity piqued by Dena and Mion's refusal to talk about the event. But I figured I might as well ask since I had the chance, just so I would stop thinking about it so much.
バラバラ殺人ってありましたよね。
あったよ。偶然その時期にひなみ沢にいてね。だからよく覚えてるよ。
I'm writing that down. Tomitake-san's answer was nonchalant in contrast to my hesitancy forced out question.
ちょうど4年前の今頃だったかな。
4 years ago? Oh my god. Okay, breaking out the notebook this time. 4 years ago? How old are Satoko and Nika? How old would they have been? Old enough to remember it, probably.
あれも確か綿流しの日だったね。
It was all... Oh my god. Okay. Debate on whether to continue construction on the dam was in disarray. Scandal after scandal rocked the project near the end. The incident that was the final nail in the coffin for the dam project. A fight at the dam construction site ended in the victim being murdered. Fearing prosecution, the 6 assailants divided the remains into 6 pieces and each hid one. 5 of the 6 criminals turned themselves in out of guilt, but 1 was still on the run. The right arm he'd hidden had yet to be found. The major details lined up with what was in the tabloid I'd read earlier. It certainly was a tragic incident, but it wasn't so terrible that Nena and Mio needed to hide it from me. I guess they didn't want someone who just moved here to have a negative impression of Hinamizawa. Or one of their families was involved, since it really wasn't that long ago. I felt grateful for having friends who worried so much about me, as well as shame for still being so interested in it.
当時はダムのトラブルの末期だったからね。お社様のたたりだって言ってずいぶん騒がれたんだよ。
お社様のたたりか。
Oyashiro-sama was the name of the god at the shrine that held the festival today, if I recalled correctly. I see. Their guardian deity rained divine punishment down on the evil dam construction for trying to flood Hinamizawa.
若い人たちはそうは思わなかったみたいだけれど。
I feel like it's been a million years since our last CG.
お年寄りたちはお社様のたたりだと疑わなかったみたいね。
She's kind of creepy. What's her deal? She never... I don't know. I feel like we definitely ran into her before, but we never, like, saw her sprite until now, so I don't remember when we bumped into her, but I think, like, Dena was talking to her. The woman with Tomitake-san chuckled mischievously. Tomitake-san began laughing with her. It was so infectious, I ended up laughing as well.
でも今ではどうかしらね。結構いるんじゃないかしら。若い人にも。
いるって何がですか？
信じてる人だよ。お社様のたたり。
The woman's lips were still curled into a smile, but her expression turned stern.
その後ね、毎年起こるんだよ。決まって今頃にね。
怒るって何が？
Tomitake-san paused for a second as if to build up some suspense. Then he whispered to me, as if someone might have been listening.
毎年綿流しの日になるとね、誰かが死ぬんだよ。
Oh, this is finally getting really good. Oh my god, wait, who's gonna die? I'm thinking Dena is going to kill someone this year. Because of the dialogue we had earlier on screen. It was clearly Dena's voice. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Why would they... Are they thinking that Oyashiro wants a sacrifice every year? Also, I am, of course, writing this one down.
バラバラ殺人の翌年の綿流しの日、ひなみ沢の住人でありながらダムの誘致派だった男が旅行先で崖下の濁流に転落して死亡した。奥さんに至っては死体も上がってない。
Wait, so 2 people died that year?
ひなみ沢の人間でありながらダムに賛成していた男ですからね。事故当時お年寄りたちはお社様のたたりだとささやき合ったものよ。
The woman chuckled mischievously again.
さらに翌年、綿流しの晩、今度は神社の神主が原因不明の奇病で急死した。
Wait, the shrine Shinto priest? Wouldn't that be like Dika's dad?
奥さんはその晩のうちに沼に受水自
Yeah,
殺した。
dad? His wife drowned herself? Wait, whoa. That's insane.
神社の神主って今日のこの神社の神主ですか？
The woman
村
nodded.
人たちはお社様のお怒りを鎮めきれなかったんだって噂したわね。
さらに翌年、これもまた綿流しの晩、今度は近所の主婦が撲殺体で発見された。
Housewife? Up until now, all these mysterious deaths were people involved with the dam or who had connections with Oyashiro-sama. With that in mind, could the housewife have been involved in some way too?
その通りよ。
The woman stated slyly. No, it was more menacingly.
被害者の一家はね、その2年前に転落死したダム誘致派の男の弟一家に当たるのよ。
The victim's family happened to be that of the younger brother of the dam supporter who fell to his death. Oh my god, so guilty by association as well?
弟本人はまだ生きてるらしいね。
Oh, the younger brother lives? Well, where is
でも
he
やは
at?
りかなり気にしてね。
Oh, he moved.
近隣の町に引っ越してったらしいよ。
Rightfully so. I'd move too. Damn. For a while, I stood there with my mouth agape. The battle over the dam construction, with Hinamizawa's future at stake, and the murder at the center of it all. That was all I knew, and that was all I wanted to ask about. But that wasn't all there was to the story. Homicide, body disposal, accidental deaths, terminal illness, suicide, fatal beatings. I'm a pretty level-headed person. I don't really want to believe in curses. But the freakish deaths happened every year on the day of the Watanagashi, and all of them were related to the dam construction. It was easy to dismiss each of them as coincidences by themselves. But when you put them all together, dismissing all of them as coincidence would then defy logic. I don't believe in curses, but every single year on the day of the Watanagashi, somebody or something makes it happen without fail. The woman chuckled again as if she picked up on what I was thinking. It felt like she was saying, maybe there was. Maybe we frightened him, stuff like that. I felt embarrassed at being read so easily. I pressed Tomitake-san to continue, a bit of impatience and irritation in my tone.
で、その翌年の綿流しの晩にもまた人が死ぬわけですよね。今度は誰です？
さーてね、圭一君は誰だと思うかな？
あ
The way he said it didn't agree with me. The sarcastic tone ticked me
は
off.
ぐらかさないでくださいよ。俺は結構真剣に。
まあまあ圭一君、落ち着いて。
I realized when she tried to calm me down that I'd been panicking.
別にはぐらかしたつもりはないんだよ、圭一君。つまりその翌年の綿流しってのは、つまり
That's right now.
今日よ。
When Tomitake-san hesitated to say it, she finished for him. I broke into a cold sweat. I really didn't like the direction this was headed.
みんな口にしないけど、今夜また何か起こるんじゃないかって思ってる。
こんなにお祭りで賑わってるのに？
あのね、去年の被害者の主婦は不信心者だったらしくてね。
Uh-oh, we better start believing really quickly, Keiichi.
綿流しのお祭りに参加しなかったらしいの。
Oh, well, at least we attended, I guess.
今年の綿流しに参加しないとお社様の怒りに触れるかもしれないって噂。圭一君なら聞いてるんじゃないかい？
I never even heard a whisper of that rumor, which I'm also writing down. Woo. I've got a lot more on my notes this time around, that's for sure.
じゃあみんなのお祭りの参加はたたりを恐れて？
そうなんじゃないかと思うね。今年の綿流しは例年になく参加者が多いよ。
Oh, that's why it was like half the village.
やっぱりみんな怖いんでしょうね。
Okay, is this woman Oyashiro or something? What's her problem?
お社様のたたり。
I couldn't utter a single word. Or is she like a non-believer? In this modern age, where we've made progress in all scientific fields, shedding light on the unknown and misunderstood, where black and white television has been eradicated and we've sent men to the moon, even with all of our accomplishments, this can exist in modern society?
桜ってことで近隣の町の子供会をかなり招待したらしいけど、やっぱり一連の事件を受けてあんまり参加はなかったみたいね。人集めに苦労してるって町会の人がぼやいてたもの。
警察もね、過去の事件は全て別個のもので関連性はないとしてるみたいだけどね。警備ってことで私服警官をだいぶ立たせてたみたいだよ。
It finally began to dawn on me why Rena and Mion were reluctant to talk. If nothing happened during this Watanagashi, everything would have been over with, and I'd be none the wiser. If nothing happened, all would be well. In that case, it would all end up being just crazy talk. I should have just pretended like I knew nothing from the beginning. Then they wouldn't have had to act like nothing happened, and we would have all gotten back to our life as usual.
やっぱり刺激が強すぎたかしら。
The woman ran her fingers through her hair as she sighed.
いえ、そんな全然。
I had tried to act strong, but that was just served to emphasize how much the information had unsettled me. After seeing how I looked, Tomitake-san appeared to regret saying anything. Letting out a sigh, he then spoke, forcing an awkward, upbeat demeanor.
まさか圭一君、たたりなんて信じてるわけじゃないだろう？
そりゃまあ。
全ての事件が原因不明で犯人も手口も謎っていうなら僕もたたりを疑ってもいいよ。だけど実際には違う。どの事件もちゃんと警察が捜査して真相や犯人を究明してる。
Hearing him say police made me feel a lot better. Well, not everyone, because didn't the original guy from the dismemberment curse not ever get caught? Or I guess it was just the arm that was never found. It was perfect for repelling the word curse.
例えば一番最初のバラバラ殺人言ったよね。犯人は一人を残して全員逮
Yeah,
捕さ
all
れて
but one, that's what I
残っ
thought.
た一人だって時間の問題さ。動機だって酒の上での口論からと判明してる。たたりなんかじゃないだろ。
That was true. If it didn't happen on the day of the Watanagashi, then I wouldn't think it was related to the curse at
次
all.
の誘致派の夫婦の事故死だってそうさ。恨みを買う立場だったからね。警察が特に入念に捜査したと思うよ。それで発表は事故。他殺じゃない。
でもまた綿流しの日に起きたんですよね。
考えてもみなよ、圭一君。ひなみ沢に敵が多かった彼が地元のお祭りにおちおち参加できると思うかい？彼にとっては綿流しの時期は特にひなみ沢に居づらい時期に違いないよ。だから わざわざこの時期に旅行をし、意図的にひなみ沢を離れようとしたんじゃないかな。
It wasn't a very clear explanation, but I sort of understood what Tomitake-san was getting at. I don't know, that doesn't really work for me. Sorry, doesn't cut it. I pressed on earnestly, asking more questions so that I could convince
じゃあ
myself.
富武さん、その次に死んだ神主さんはどうです？原因不明の奇病だって。それもまたしても
Oh, it was
綿流しの日。
unknown?
神主さんはもっと説明がつきやすいよ。綿流しのお祭りは神主さんにとっては年に一度の大行事。
You think he died
過労
from
に体調不良が重なっ
stress?
たんだろうね。
I mean, surely you can, but I feel like if humans died under stress that easily, I would have died a long time
あ
ago.
るいはもともと持病持ちだったのかもしれない。
でも奇病ですよ。この医学の進歩した時代に原因不明なんて。
What kind of illness, like, do we have details?
尾ひれだよ。
Any symptoms?
噂が噂を呼んだだけさ。2年立て続けに事件が起これば誰だって過敏になるよ。急死は確かに不自然だったかもしれないけど、こういう死に方をすると必ず警察が検視をする。で、事件性は発見されなかったんだろう。本当に偶然の病死なんだよ。
確か神主の奥さんが自殺してますよね。じゃあこれは？
すでに説明した通りさ。
Yeah.
3年目の事件に村人たちは動揺していた。信心深い人たちはすぐにたたりだと決めてかかったのさ。もちろん神主の奥さんもね。自殺の際に死んでお社様の怒りを押し詰めするみたいな遺書が見つかったらしいし。
じゃあ次の主婦の事件は？またしても綿流しの日に。
この事件は犯人も逮捕されて解決してるよ。一種の異常者でひなみ沢のたたり騒ぎを面白がって再現したと自供してる。
じゃあ次の年の事件は？
Oh yeah, this year is the next year. Tomitake-san gave a hearty laugh.
もう何も起こらないよ。今度こそね。お社様のたたりなんてもともとない。
Oh, I think he's dead for saying that. Oh, I think he's dead.
一連の偶然をあると信じている人たちがそうだと吹聴しているだけさ。
My internal computer finally got itself back on track. I felt a bit embarrassed by how childish I'd become after losing control and panicking.
僕は圭一君がひなみ沢をとても好きだと思ってることよ。仮にお社様のたたりが実在したとしても、そんな圭一君にたたりがあるなんてとても思えないね。
I felt very relieved. I should probably just forget everything I heard tonight. I'll greet Nena and Mion tomorrow with the same smile as always. They'd probably also like tonight to end without incident, so they can continue on tomorrow without having worried me. Perhaps seeing my change in attitude, the woman who had been listening and stretched as she got up from the rock she was sitting on.
さてと、そろそろ私は戻らないとね。
おっと、僕も少々長くおしゃべりしすぎたかな。
There were so few people compared to the crowd from before. You could only make out a few groups of families enjoying the cool evening air. I looked at my watch. It seemed we'd talked for the better part of an hour.
圭一君もお友達と一緒に来たんでしょ？みんなを探したら？
そうだった。みんな俺のことを探してるかもしれない。
女の子に探させるなんてなかなかの罪人だね。
I would not want to be alone in the woods after this conversation,
じゃあ
personally.
ね、おやすみなさい、圭一君。二郎さんもね。また後ほど。
Tomitake-san seems to be quite the scoundrel himself, so his name is Jiro. After dusting off her backside, she disappeared into the crowd of people still busy cleaning up the shrine grounds. What an intense conversation. In her place, Nena came running over. I could see all the others behind her. Speak of the devil.
悪いケイちゃん、すっかり話し込んじゃっててさ。
I'd completely forgotten about them while caught up in my own conversation, so we were even.
あら、富武さんもご一緒でございましたの。 ちょうどよかったですわ。今日の射的の結果発表がありますです。
Yeah, Dika still needs to go shooting.
ああ、そうだったね。結局ビリは僕なのかな。
In the end, after my dramatic victory, Dika-chan was the last challenger, but there weren't many targets left. The ones remaining were all tiny and difficult to hit. She did take her time and aim, but all 3 shots completely missed. She was to end up sharing the loser's crown with Tomitake-san. However, she did her little meeping cry in front of the owner, and he turned to mush instantly. She was given a pack of gum as a consolation prize. Her methods were a bit audacious, but she did avoid being the loser rather magnificently.
思うにリカちゃんって結構タヌキだろ。
ケイイチの言ってる意味がわかりませんです。
なわけでビリは富武さんに決まり。
Everyone cheered and applauded. Tomitake-san smiled wryly, slightly bewildered.
じゃあ富武さん、覚悟はいいかな？罰ゲーム。
え？あ、忘れてた。
You're too naive, Tomitake-san. This is why you've got to avoid losing in our club. Mion pulled a felt-tip marker from her pocket. Oh, it's that.
ミオン、武士の情けだ。せめて水星にしてやれ。優勢はつらい。
優勢じゃないとダメだよ。お洗濯したら落ちちゃうじゃない。
なんだいお手柔らかに頼むよ。
All of us pinned his arms behind his back, and Mion approached him with the marker in one hand.
キュッキュッだ。
But she didn't write on Tomitake-san's face. She wrote on the shirt he was wearing. You'd better have your big break this year, Mion. Nena took up the marker next. Show me your photos next time, okay? It was a little heartwarming, and I just had to laugh. He got off easy, man.
これじゃあ罰ゲームってより寄せ書きじゃないか。
Yeah.
私は甘くはありませんのよ。ちゃんと罰ゲームできますわ。
Haha, dead last. Try harder next time, Nika.
ケイイチさんもどうぞでございます。
I couldn't decide what to write, but based on what kind of penalty this was probably the most appropriate. Come back and play again. Tomitake-san was silent the entire time. At first he was quite bewildered, but now he had a different look on his face.
これを着たまま帰郷するのも罰ゲームのうちに入るのかな。
This is quite the long episode.
ちゃんと着たまま家に帰ってね。
I mean, I'm having a good time,
次
but
に来てきてくれるといいな。
I just realized it's been already an hour and a half recording. He appeared deeply moved. Embarrassment mixed with a wealth of other emotions made him turn a bright red.
わ
Aww.
かった。次に来る時もこれを着てくるよ。
Aww, wait, that's cute.
約束する。
It's like a yearbook. Everyone cheered and applauded. It was the finest parting gift possible for a buddy heading out tonight. I don't know how they're writing all of this on his black, you know, tits out. Hopefully the marker is like silver. I saw the woman who was with Tomitake-san standing near the festival grounds. It seemed Tomitake-san noticed her too and knew it was time to leave.
お連れ様がお待ちみたいじゃん。そろそろお時間かな。
そうみたいだね。
Tomitake-san headed off towards her and seemed to apologize for making her wait. We all shouted stuff at Tomitake-san. Each time we did, he looked back and waved his hand. Eventually, he faded into the darkness of the night, out of sight. It was quite the casual farewell. This wasn't the first time any of us had seen someone off. They had done the same thing many times before.
行っちゃったね。
So he's also leaving on the night of
うちらも引き上げ
Watanagashi.
るかね。
That's pretty bold. Nika-chan had to stay behind with the other committee members since they were having a meeting. Satoko was tagging along with her. I headed back home with the usual suspects. The walk back was quite lively with talk of the day's war stories. Should have done this, should have done that kind of stuff. Nena and I parted ways with Mion, and then it was just the two of us. Then we got to my house, and I parted ways with Nena as well.
こんな時間だけど、一人で大丈夫か？
全然平気だよ。近いし、走っていくし。
変な奴がいたら大声出せよ。
出したら、助けに来てくれるのかな？
聞こえたらな。
I don't know why I'm so nervous.
聞こえるくらい大きな声を出すね。
Merrily spinning her arms around at high speed, Nena dashed off. She was fine. In that mode, not even an adult could stand against her. Nena's cheerful presence disappeared, and it finally became quiet again. The curse that not a soul mentioned, even under their breath. The more I learned about it tonight, the more unsettling it became. It didn't show on any of their faces, but they were probably all quite concerned about it as well. But if nothing happens tonight, then it all ends up being just crazy talk. Nothing will happen. Nothing bad. Nothing at all.
どうしたのケイチ、そんなところで。中に入りなさい。風邪をひくわよ。
It was my mom.
母さんは行った？綿流しのお祭り。
結局お父さんが起きなかったからね。
Uh-oh.
行きそびれちゃったわ。残念。
Please don't kill his parents, please! Mom stuck her tongue out with a bit of an embarrassed look on her face. Slept in? It's night? I mean, I guess. Maybe he was up late painting. Painting. We have so many tips. I'm so excited. Let's get into them. Okay, we have 4. Hojo couples falling incident. Wait, isn't that Sadako's name? I think so. Huh. Interesting. And then we've got, yeah, I knew Rika's relatives, the illness. Housewife murder? I don't know. And a radio log. Okay, let's start with the Hojo couples falling incident. June 1980s. On the afternoon, at 2 p.m., office employee and his wife of Hinamizawa village in Shishibone Prefecture disappeared after falling 27 meters from the observatory platform in Shirakawa Prefecture. So they both fell, right. Police and firefighters searched downstream and discovered the body at around 7 p.m. His wife has yet to be found. The search has run into difficulties due to the effects of Typhoon 3 from the previous day. It appeared a railing at the observatory that the blanks leaned on had broken, causing them to fall. The groundskeeping staff was questioned by the police in regards to facility deterioration and if park maintenance was performed properly. That was a short one. Okay, the next one is the terminal illness death of Shinto priest Furude. Uh, 1981, the year after. On the afternoon of blank, around 10 p.m. in the blank district of Hinamizawa village in Shishibone Prefecture, the Shinto priest of the Furude shrine passed away after an existing condition he was recovering from suddenly worsened. Parties close to the deceased said he was suffering from anxiety issues concerning the festival, which was to be held that day. Also, after Blank's death, his wife, Blank, went missing, leaving behind a farewell note. The police and local youth association continued the search. However, given the presence of the farewell message and the fact that the Onikakushi swamp is said to be bottomless, they've run into difficulties. Oh, wait! Yeah, wait, right here. The swamp known as Onikakushi, the Demon's Abyss, it said that the bottom connects to the Demon's World. This is so fun. Okay. Oh, that's it? Dang. Okay, alright. And next is housewife murder. Now, who is this going to be? It wasn't reported in the newspaper. Huh? Wait. What kind of tip is that? Okay, whatever. I will write a note on it. Okay. Last one. I feel like I really got baited there. A radio log.
3号です。感度良好。
おいしいおいしい Man, this author is hilarious. Yeah, I'm assuming this is the police.
はい、3号了解。
From maybe the dismemberment incident.
今、先生が到着しました。運びたいそうですがどうしますか？どうぞ。了解しました。先生に任せてください。はい、了解です。ああ、応援も到着しました。先に写真撮らせた方がいいんじゃないですか？外車、もう無駄だと思いますし。
Wait. Or maybe that was the housewife? Did they say the year? I'm gonna rewatch it really quickly. Okay, upon rereading it, maybe they did find the arm? Or maybe the first body part? I think it is the dismemberment because they refer to something they found as it and whether the doctor should carry it away and how the victim probably wouldn't survive that. So I'm assuming that's what that is and not like a full corpse. So anyway, this has been the most exciting chapter yet of Higurashi. Thank you for bearing with me in my sleepiness. I still had a great, wonderful time. And I'm so excited to continue. As it's ramping up, I may even be compelled to do more than one episode a week, but we'll see on my availability on that. Again, I'm going out of town for 4 days. I'm recording this right beforehand. So regardless, the next one will probably be again on Friday as per usual. And yeah, I'm so excited. I was really engrossed in this one. I feel like I didn't really have that much to say except trying to stay, on top of my notes. And I think I've done a pretty good job. I took some notes on these tips. I'm not sure what to write on the radio one, just because it's pretty vague. But yeah, we have how many pages now? Over two pages of notes. So it's going very well, and I'm immensely enjoying it. I don't mind how much slice of life moments there are. I have heard that is a complaint, but I like those moments. I think they lend themselves to the horror as well, because you have to care about the characters, in my opinion, for the horror to really land. So yeah, and also the mystery is super nice to pay attention to as well. But I am rambling this time. I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.